Bamba!
Hello, I'm Jim. That's La Bamba. This story is entitled, It's Your First Time, Charlie Brown. The alarm went off, and Charlie Brown slowly rolled out of bed. His tailbone still hurt from landing on it the day before. Lucy had once again pulled the football away, just prior to Charlie Brown attempting a playscape. Having missed the ball, Charlie Brown flew straight up into the air, came down with a hard thud. What Lucy didn't know is that Charlie Brown willfully participated in her cruel trick, because every time she knelt down to hold the football, Charlie Brown caught a glimpse of her panties. One of these days, Lucy was going to realize that a lady should not hold a football while wearing a sundress. But until that day came, Charlie Brown would continue to put himself through the pain of missing the football. Charlie rifled through his closet looking for something to wear. When nothing was deemed worthy, he grabbed his favorite yellow polo shirt from the laundry basket and put it on. He wore that same yellow shirt with the black zigzag every day, but told the other kids that he had 7 identical shirts. Nobody believed him. Charlie Brown was poor, not pigpen poor, but poor nonetheless. He looked in the mirror and carefully curled his one long hair. He thought if he grew that one hair long enough, then curled it across his forehead, people would think he had more than one hair. People did not think this. Charlie and his friends walked to school together. Charlie Brown, Linus and Lucy Van Pelt, Schroeder, Peppermint Patty, and the Black Kid. Everybody called the Black Kid Franklin, but Charlie didn't know if that was his real name or just a racist nickname. The whole gang was sitting in class listening to the teacher drone on and on. Most of the students were daydreaming, while a few were straight up sleeping. Charlie was fantasizing that one day Lucy wouldn't be wearing any panties under her sundress. Charlie knew that Lucy was into the brooding musician type like Schroeder, but Charlie thought that one day he could win her affection with his athletic prowess if she would just hold that football still. And after the ball would clear the crossbar, Charlie would take Lucy into Snoopy's doghouse and make sweet love to her. He was deep in this fantasy when the teacher asked Charlie Brown a question. Charlie Brown did not hear the teacher, and he continued to think about Lucy and that sliver of panty. The teacher noticed an erection under Charlie Brown's little black shorts and incorrectly assumed it was her that he was fantasizing about. She raised her voice. Charlie snapped out of his daze. Yes? Oh no! Charlie had never received attention before, and he was supposed to go play football with the gang after school. The bell rang, and Charlie Brown sat at his desk while all his classmates walked out the door. After the last student had left, the teacher locked the door, let her hair down, and said, "Excuse me?" Charlie thought he had misheard. The teacher undid the top 2 buttons of her blouse. As she walked over to Charlie's desk, then she sat in his lap and said, and Charlie blushed. She twirled Charlie Brown's long hair and said, "But of course I trust you." If Charlie Brown was anything, it was being too trustful of women. The teacher had never thought about coming on to a student before, but she was very lonely and found it difficult to meet men her own age. What was her speech impediment? The teacher whispered, She grabbed Charlie Brown by the waist of his shorts and dragged him to her desk. She knocked off all the supplies and threw Charlie on top of the desk. The boy was naked before he knew what was happening, and the teacher was on top of him. She was bouncing up and down and barking out orders. She yelled vulgarities like, and Charlie did the best he could to please her, but he didn't know what a lot of those words meant. The teacher demanded, "You want me to put my what in your where?" But that's where poop comes from. Charlie did as he was told, and the teacher screamed in ecstasy. The teacher's orgasm synced perfectly with Charlie Brown's fourth orgasm. It was the greatest 3 minutes of his life. As Charlie Brown walked out of the school, he muttered to himself, "Good grief. Good grief indeed." Charlie Brown walked to the park with his head held high and a bounce in his step. When he arrived, his friends were already playing football. He stood at the edge of the park for a minute and watched them and thought, "What beautiful, simple creatures." Lucy spotted him from across the park and yelled, "Yoo-hoo, Charlie Brown! Come over and practice your place kicks." Charlie confidently walked over, looked Lucy right in the eye and said, "Let's do this." And at that point in the conversation, he would normally have his eyes drift to the ground, but this time, Charlie Brown held eye contact for a full minute after he was done speaking. Lucy couldn't look away and a chill went up her spine. Charlie Brown then measured out his steps, turned back to Lucy, who was still trying to sort out these new feelings. Then she squatted down and set the football beneath her index finger. Charlie Brown sprinted towards the ball without hesitation, planted his left foot, and took a mighty swing with his right. And for reasons she didn't understand, Lucy did something she had never done before. She did not move the football. Charlie Brown's foot struck the ball with a mighty force, sending the ball sailing high and true through the uprights. After a moment of stunned silence, the whole gang jumped up and started celebrating. Even that weird little bird that always seemed to be around was doing that. And while all their friends danced around them in celebration, Lucy Van Pelt grabbed Charlie Brown and gave him a big kiss. And it was at that moment, that Charlie Brown was reminded of the words of the woman who, less than an hour ago, had taught him to be a man. The end.
Jim Hamilton and the Bamba, ladies and gentlemen. Stay close, fellas. Come back up. All right, let's get everybody.